please call the roll.
Chamberlain. Ratlitter. Haber.
Here.
Kunzin.
Here.
Masterson.
Here.
Bud.
Here.
President Campbell.
Very good. Okay.
This is a public hearing to consider amending provisions that govern the Hiawatha Woods Special Service Area number 19. That special service area was established in the village in 2002 by an ordinance 02-8-25. And for those of you who don't know, for those of you who are in the audience, and if this is repetitive, I'm sorry. The special service area was established pursuant to state law, pursuant to a special section of the state law, which allows villages that have a high percentage of private streets to enact special service areas that provide maintenance for those private streets. So there's a specific procedure for forming a special service area that takes care of private streets under this particular section in the statutes. It's unlike the other special service areas that we formed in the village for taking care of water and sewer. It's just, it has its own process. The process is that the village adopts an ordinance proposing to form a special service area to take care of streets. We have a hearing to consider the formation of the special service area. This is the hearing tonight to amend it, but originally we had a hearing to form it. We take comment from the public, and at the end of the hearing, we finally adjourn the hearing. There's a period of time that runs during which those who live in the special service area, who are in favor of it, submit a petition to the village authorities, to the village clerk, stating that you are in favor of the special service area. We received those petitions back in 2002, and the board then adopted the ordinance that's under discussion tonight to actually establish a Hiawatha Woods Special Service Area. That special service area accomplished two things for you in the area. One is we were able to borrow some money from a bank up front and extensively repave the roads. I think they were gravel before, if I'm remembering. They repaved the roads. There was a desire at the time by most of the people who lived in Hiawatha Woods that that paving effort not be for naught, that it not be done once and that the roads then just simply deteriorate because there's no way to take care of them. So one of the additional provisions starting back in 2002 was that besides paying off the bonds, the special service area would also levy an annual tax that was for the purpose of allowing the village to build up funds to take care of potholes and ordinary routine maintenance. Not a complete reconstruction of the street, but just to be able to perform routine maintenance from time to time. I think we've been collecting about $5,000 a year from Hiawatha Woods, and the money's been going into an account designated for that purpose, and then from time to time, Pat Glenn, our village engineer, comes up with an estimate of some reasonable repairs, things that need to be done. We have spent some money on repairing the streets. We have some money left in the account, and one of the reasons we're here tonight is we asked the residents, do you want us to continue to levy about $5,000 a year to take care of the streets? Is that sufficient? Are there other things you want us to do? And the residents came back and said, we'd like to include in the services that the village provides snow plowing and snow removal. This was not a service that was originally described in the ordinance establishing the special service area. Back at that time, in 2002, most of the residents in Hiawatha Woods favored a very limited set of ongoing maintenance. I think everybody was trying to feel whether they were comfortable with the process, with how it was going to work, and maybe they were uncomfortable with giving the power to levy taxes to the village and wonder how that would play out. From my experience, basically I contacted village staff from time to time and ask them, what should we levy for this area? Pat Glynn looks at the estimated cost of maintenance and repair. He's been giving me an estimate. And we've basically stuck to the same levy every year since we formed the special service area. I don't think we've ever changed it. In order to provide some protection to the people who live in the special service area, the statute itself requires that if there's an annual tax, if there's going to be a limit on how much can be raised, that has to be set forth in the ordinance. So going back to 2002, the original ordinance sets a cap of 22 cents per $100 valuation for this annual tax that we levy. I did an informal kind of glancing over the assessed values in the Hiawatha Woods Special Service Area, and it looks to me like at that present cap we could raise as much as approximately $20,000 a year and still be within the existing tax rate limit that was built into the original special service area. I contacted Mr. Rosenthal, Phil Rosenthal, and said, is $20,000 enough for you to handle snow plowing? Because I didn't want to later find out that the rate wouldn't be sufficient. He said he hoped it was many times sufficient to take care of snow plowing for you. So if you look at the text of what we proposed, it would amend provisions of the ordinance that established the special service area. Under the guidelines from the state statute, if we want to amend a special service area, we basically go through the same procedure that we went through when we formed it. That's why tonight we're having a hearing. We adopted an ordinance proposing an amendment. Tonight we're having a hearing. At the end of the hearing, presumably it'll be adjourned. As a final adjournment, we'll start running the clock on 60 days, and we'll be looking for residents to submit petitions saying they are in favor of the amendment. If we get enough of the petitions in, we have to get 51% of the property owners of record. Then the board will have the authority to pass a second ordinance, which would happen, I was thinking about August, if I'm counting the days right, at which point the ordinance amending the prior ordinance would take effect. And the language for what we were actually suggesting in the amendment was to remove some of the language. There are copies of the proposed ordinance, the amendment here at the Village Hall. We also, just for the record, published notice of this hearing in the Deerfield Review. The certificate of publication is May 14, 2008. And we also mailed notice to everyone, to all the taxpayers of record in the special service area at least 10 days prior to tonight's hearing. So 60 days from now, if we adopt an ordinance amending the special service area, we then will have the authority to levy the taxes and spend the money not only for pothole repair and routine maintenance of the streets, but also for snow plowing and removal. We also, and this was maybe my communication with Phil about this, we also initially at least proposed that the authority extend to tree trimming and shoulder repair, shoulder restoration. I was told that the members of the Association of Hiawatha Woods later determined that they really want to keep this just to snow plowing and snow removal. I think the board will respect that. My suggestion is that when we prepare these petitions saying you're in favor of the amendment, that we indicate in the petition you're in favor of the amendment, but you only wanted to expand the special service area to include snow removal, snow plowing. On that basis, I'm fairly sure that the board, when it adopts the ordinance establishing and amending the ordinance, would follow your desires and amend it for that, in that purpose. We could clean up that language in the ordinance that establishes the amendment. I'm not quite sure we have the right terminology anymore for it in 60 days. The other provision of the ordinance that's unlike what we've ever had before is it says that the village will provide money for snow plowing services provided it has an agreement with the association providing for those services in a form that meets the requirements of our ordinances. Several trustees have expressed the concern that we have an agreement that indicates that the association would properly contract with a snowplow removal company, provide the village with copies of the contract or quotes, bids. The association would